Less Thanksgiving means shorter holiday shopping season. It is an especially last Thanksgiving this year, the lastest, in fact, the holiday ever falls. That means the holiday shopping season starting Friday is the shortest it ever is, just 26 days. So many retailers are trying to make up for lost time by opening for business on Thanksgiving. They expected to run up more than 300 billion in sales this season, with as much as 15% of it this weekend. But will opening store on Thanksgiving pay off? Some 33 million Americans were expected to shop on Thanksgiving Day alone. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually 2 million fewer than last Thanksgiving Day, even though more stores are open. Sean Davis spent part of the holiday at Best Buy shopping for a game console. He said he is spending about the same amount as last year. I'm not trying to go overly too high because things have been funny this season, he said. Economy has been funny, so I'm trying to keep it moderate. That's what has retailers nervous. Even with the economy in recovery and the stock market up nearly 23% this year, more than 21 million Americans are still underemployed. They are in part-time jobs, out of work, have given up looking. Sales during the holiday shopping season have averaged 3.3% growth each year over the last decade. Greg Johnson, an analyst with Customer Growth Partners, says the sluggish pace in hiring may lead to slower growth. We view this year at up about 2.9%, which is a very mediocre increase and represents a deceleration over the last 2 years, he said. So it's not going to be a great season for a lot of retailers. It's going to be a humbug holiday. That makes life a lot harder for retailers. It's actually good for the consumer who has money to spend and good income. But for retailers, it can be very dicey, said Johnson. A query with the calendar this year means there are 6 fewer shopping days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That will skew the figures for that period. To compensate, retailers started their seasonal sales earlier, some as early as October. The one number that has increased, online shoppers. Consulting firm Accenture predicted nearly half of all Americans shopping on Thanksgiving Day would skip the crowd and browse from the comfort of their home. That's a new record. Retail giants Walmart and Best Buy are warning investors to expect disappointing holiday sales figures. Not only are 85% of Americans predicted to avoid shopping on Black Friday, analysts say they will visit fewer stores in general in the weeks before Christmas. IAEA monitoring Iran nuclear deal with tech time. The head of The UN Nuclear Agency says it will take some time for his organization to prepare to monitor a landmark nuclear deal between Iran and 6 world powers. The agreement, signed Sunday in Geneva, calls for Iran to limit or freeze sensitive parts of its nuclear program for 6 months in return for limited relief from international sanctions. But no start date for the deal has been announced. The inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency will monitor Iran's compliance. IAEA Chief Yuki Amano said Thursday the UN agency needs some time to analyze the implication of the new duties on its funding and staffing. He made the remarks at a meeting of the IAEA's 35-nation board in Vienna. World power, including the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, plus Germany, pressed for the Geneva deal as the first step toward ensuring that Iran's nuclear activities have no military component. Iran says those activities are for peaceful civilian purposes, but Western powers suspect they are a cover for making bombs. IAEA inspectors have been monitoring some of Iran's nuclear sites for years to ensure its compliance with international non-proliferation obligations. The diplomats in Vienna told Western news agency the IAEA is unlikely to be ready for expanded monitoring of additional Iranian sites until January. IAEA Chief Amano also said Iran will permit inspections of a key facility at its Iraq nuclear complex as part of separated agreement with the UN agency. Amano said Tehran has invited the IAEA to inspect the Iraq heavy water plant on December 8th, in what will be the first such visit in 2 years. The nuclear plant produces heavy water intended for use in a nearby reactor that is under construction. IAEA inspectors have been able to access the reactor. Iran and the IAEA agreed earlier this month to open the heavy water plant to inspection to enable the agency to carry out its long-standing mandate. Iran later promised the 6 world power in the Geneva to refrain from making further advancement in the Iraq complex for 6 months. Western powers fear Iran could use the reactor to produce plutonium for developing nuclear weapons. Under the Geneva deal, Iran also promised to limit production of enriched uranium, another compound that can be used for nuclear bomb making when purified to a high level. The agreement calls for Iran to stop enrichment above the 5% level and dilute its stockpile of uranium enriched to 20%, which is close to weapons grade. Iran's state news agency IRNA quoted Iran's nuclear chief Ali Akbar saying the country plans to increase its enrichment of low-level uranium. In a report published Thursday, Saleh said centrifuges previously producing 20% enriched uranium will be switched to producing uranium below the 5% level. Taylor Swift takes top prize at American Music Awards. Country pop star Taylor Swift won the top prize at the American Music Awards, beating out Justin Timberlake, Rihanna, Bruno Mars, and Macklemore and Ryan Lewis for the Artist of the Year award. The ceremony took place Sunday night at the Nokia Theater in Los Angeles. Swift also won awards for Favorite Female Pop Rock Artist, Best Female Country Artist, and Best Country Album. Rihanna, who won the Best Female Rhythm and Blues Soul Artist prize, also won the awards show's first ever Icon Award, which was presented to her by her mother. Justin Timberlake had 3 wins: Best Soul R&B Album, Best Soul R&B Male Artist, and the Best Pop Rock Male Artist. Jennifer Lopez delivered a sensational song and dance tribute to salsa queen Celia Cruz. A scantily clad Miley Cyrus, who has been closely watched since her weekend at the MTV Video Music Awards, performed her song Wrecking Ball, accompanied by a kitten on a big screen behind her mouth and the words to the song. This year's show was hosted by Latin hip-hop artist Pitbull. American Music Award nominees are selected based on sales and airplay. Fans choose the winner by voting online. China sends warplanes into disputed airspace. China's military said it sent warplanes Thursday to patrol its newly declared air defense identification zone in the East China Sea, just hours after Japan and South Korea challenged Beijing by flying military planes into the zone. China's official Xinhua news agency said several fighter jets and early warning aircraft had been sent on what a military spokesman described as defensive air patrol over disputed island controlled by Tokyo and claimed by Beijing. The Chinese response raised the stakes in an international standoff over the uninhabited islands, known as Senkaku in Japan and Diaoyu in China. Japan, the United States, and South Korea have all refused to recognize the Chinese declared air zone. Earlier this week, the United States, which is obligated by treaty to defend Japan, sought to underscore its position by flying two B-52 bombers over the islands. The unarmed U.S. flights came 2 days after the Chinese Defense Ministry wrote that all aircraft in the zone must identify themselves and obey all orders from Beijing. Chinese officials had initially reacted calmly to the U.S. overflights by simply acknowledging them and saying the Chinese military had monitored them without taking action. But land majors' response quickly ignited criticism on Chinese microblogging sites and in some state media. Earlier Thursday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Qin Gan defended the Chinese airspace declaration, saying airlines from many countries have flight-relevant application for flights in the region. Beijing has sought to portray the airspace declaration as a move to defend national sovereignty. Officials have also sought to point out that the United States and Japan have their own aerial zones. The festering dispute is one of several maritime controversies pitting China against South Asian nations, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Brunei, and Malaysia. Beijing has indicated a willingness to negotiate the dispute, but so far has rejected calls for multilateral negotiations. It has sought separate talks with each country. Kerala police shooter who held two hostages charged with attempted murder. A gunman who shot a police officer and held two hostages captive in Southern California has been arrested and charged with attempted murder, police said today. Christopher Warsaw, 45, is being held at South Los Angeles Station on $1 million bail. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Deputy Guillermina Santana confirmed Thursday. The charges followed a nearly 9-hour standoff with officers which ended with Warsaw's arrest shortly before Thanksgiving. The standoff began when police responded to a domestic disturbance call at 12:30 p.m. Wednesday, after receiving a call that a man was dragging a woman into a house at the 10700 block of Fifth Avenue in Inglewood. As officers approached the front door, Warsaw, who has a criminal record, opened fire, sparking a shootout that led to officers being injured, said police. The officer that was actually shot in the chest but was saved by his bulletproof vest, said Linwood police spokesman Oscar Magan. The unidentified male officer was taken to a Sentinel hospital in Langlewood overnight and is said to be in a stable condition. He was later transferred to Harvard UCLA Medical Center for treatment. The female officer began running back down the avenue. Witness Kimberly Edwards told ABC7. She collapsed in the front of us on Fifth Avenue and let's slung her over the shoulder like a sack and took her out. The female officer, who also remains unidentified, was also taken to Sentinel Hospital and later released. A neighbor captured that chaos on camera through his window across the street. As the gunfire intensified, police told residents to remain inside their house, while Wassel barricaded himself inside the house with his girlfriend and her 14-year-old daughter. The standoff continued into the evening. Police went door to door, evacuating those inside to safety. Hostage negotiators from both Langlewood Police Department and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department eventually persuaded the suspect to surrender peacefully at around 9:30 p.m. The hostage's brother, who only wanted to be identified as Matt, told ABC7 that he was at work when he received a call saying his 42-year-old sister and niece were being hostage. He said his nephew had managed to escape the house and called 911. Both hostage and the gunman emerged from the home unharmed. The incident has terrified neighbors, some who were preparing for Thanksgiving when the shootout started. Esther Fraser told the Los Angeles Times she was baking a Thanksgiving cake when the commotion began and was walking back inside to turn off her oven when gunfire rang out. There were so many gunshots. Oh my God, it was like you were in a war zone. Fraser said, a shot came through the screen on my door. Flesh and blood, when fashion becomes dangerous. This year, the holiday shopping season's unofficial kickoff comes just weeks after highly coveted coat landed at the center of high-profile shooting at New York City's Bryant Park, the latest in a long history of crime mixing blood and brains. Corinne Dunton, 16, of the Bronx, is accused of opening fire at the Buck's ice skating rink on November 9. Within 2 after demanding another man's nearly 700 mammoth coat now popularly known as Biggie. For brands like Marmot, a high-end outdoors company, the ice rink shooting and previous violent incident involving the trendy cold open canvas truck. It's terrifying as brand person. David Benjamin, who has the marketing company Threadway Brands Trainers, told CBS News.com, "I was a brand manager, and when unexpected things happen to your brand that really don't have to do with people that you are primarily selling to, it's a little bewildering." Online videos capture the divide between a company's intent and where its product ends up. Marmot has featured tranquil scenes on serene ski slopes. A YouTube video, one of the many that pop up when searching Marmot and Biggie, features a group of male nabbing a Marmot parka after it was dropped in a fight. The title, "How to Steal a Biggie." Marmot is not the only company to see its merchandise get tangled up in violent episodes. Nike's Air Jordan sneakers have infamously been targeted in deadly robberies for over 2 decades. More recently, Apple has seen a spike in crime tied to its popular gadget. According to statistics released by NYPD, nearly 20% of all crime last year in New York involved the theft of an Apple product. In San Francisco, more than 50% of robberies in the city involve a smartphone, according to a spokesperson for the San Francisco Police Department. It begs the question, what responsibility does a brand have to prevent crime linked to its products? If you're doing these events to introduce something new and cool, can you have enough security? Can you manage it in such a way that you create desirability, which is what brand wants, without making it dangerous, said Benjamin. Following the Bryant Park shooting, the one store in Manhattan that sold the Marmot Biggie Paragon Sport pulled the last remaining code from its racks. Any particular item that becomes an object related to crime, we would certainly disassociate ourselves from it. Paragon Sports Chief Operating Officer Bob Gilman told CBS News.com. Leslie Williams lost her 22-year-old son, Joshua Woods, when he was gunned down in Texas over Air Jordans last year. Woods has just purchased the sneaker on the launch date of Nike's latest edition, and reportedly had no idea he was being followed as he left the mall. Following her son's death, Williams launched a campaign called Life Over Fashion, which aims to pressure Nike to alter the way the costly sneakers are distributed, according to CBS affiliate KHOU. Just give the stores more quantity and make it so that if I don't get them today, I can get them tomorrow, Williams told the station. In response to an inquiry from CBSNews.com, Nike said in a statement, "Consumer safety is of paramount importance to us. We continue to work with our retail partners to share best practice and refine our launch process to improve the buying experience for our consumers. We encourage people wishing to purchase our products to do in a respectful manner." Richard Osborne, president of the Citizen Crime Commission of New York City, said it's a matter striking the right balance. "The way I urge companies to think about that is to think about what it is they can do in a realistic way that can really have an impact on whatever the activity is without dimming their commercial activity," Osborne told CBS News. "We need commerce. We don't want to kill commerce by any means," he said, "but they do have a responsibility. There are steps," Osborne said, "consumers can take to avoid becoming the victim of crimes related to fashion or gadget. It's more about vigilance. It's more about being street smart than it is about totally altering our behavior. Nobody should stay off the streets. Nobody should stay out of the subways. People should wear what they want, but just be smart about it," Osborne said. If somebody does say, "Give me your sneakers, give me your watch, give me your coat, give me your iPhone, give me whatever it is," you don't need to stand there and be told. He added, "You can go buy another coat, you can get another iPhone, you can get another pair of sneakers. It's not that important. Your life is much more important."